Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to the video. This is the paid request for Eric. Thank you so much for that. And for those interested in requesting any type of videos, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both things are down below in the info box. I'll get to as soon as I can. But this is for Kamen Rider, the 1971 show, episode 1. Now, Kamen Rider I had heard of quite a few times throughout the years. And before, self-plug, if anyone wants to request any type of videos, topic, reaction, tier list, ranking, review, re-review, what have you, PayPal's usually the best bet. CashApp I have as well. If you've asked about that, links are down below in the info box. I'll get to as soon as I can. I know, shameless self-plug, but oh well. But Kamen Rider, I know there's a person that watched my videos called Kamen Rider. I've heard that name brought up, that term brought up quite a few times throughout the years. I know what it was, but in the bare essentials, that it was one of those superhero shows overseas in Japan way back in the day. And I didn't grow with those type of shows. We just didn't have them available to watch where I was growing up in Iowa. The closest was the movie Inframan, which was a Chinese production, which I have. Actually, I think it's over there, the Blu-ray of it. But that's what Inframan was. It was someone who was this regular person, but then, or at least they worked for, in that one, organization, but then there's this doctor, gave him all these enhancements, and then became Inframan. He'd do all this crazy stuff. He fights monsters with kung fu, and then when he get much bigger. Anyway, Inframan was the one I watched many times when I was a kid. Love that film. Childhood favorite of mine. And throughout the years, I've seen a few other stuff. There was another guy, another person, I should say, Dark Metal Spider. She had requested a Spectre Man. A few episodes of that, which is the same vein of a person, and you have costume superhero fighting evil. Use a little bit martial arts. That one's a bit more about the pollution aspects as well. And this one, from what I heard, I could be wrong, this helped re-energize that format, and a lot of things like Spectre Man and other stuff were influenced by Kamen Rider. I don't know if that's true. If it's false, I apologize. Like I said, I'm not that familiar with the dotting the I's, crossing the T's on this format of these type of shows, these type of characters. But apparently this ran from 1971 to 1973. I guess after 1973, they kept having different era, kind of like Godzilla, where you would have it rest for a bit, then it would bring back and have it be that type of era. Run a few years, take a break, then years go by, then bring it back again. And pretty much our main character is a motorcyclist who I guess is training for this Grand Prix. But then one day people are chasing him on motorcycles of their own. And I guess they're working for this terrorist group called Shocker. Shocker! Shocker! Ain't no Horace Pinter in this. One that leads to another. He's able to, even though he's without any ramp, just go do this and jump over with his motorcycle over these guys. Done via editing. Because we don't see a wide shot of him actually jumping over the guys. It's just, he does this, then you see the motorcycle and him in the air, and then coming down, and it is what it is. So the gang chases him. He gets caught by this web, where it looks like these women in fish nets on their leggings capture him. I'm like, okay, this could be a fun time. But sadly, it's not. It's not a gangbang of women epic proportions. Instead, it is Shocker capturing him, the terrorist group, and wanting to brainwash him. Because apparently they're having people all over the world, I guess kind of like Manchurian Candidate style. And not only that, but we have altered your body already with cyborg components. Now, you would think they want to do the brainwashing first and then give the cyborg parts, not give the cyborg parts and then the brainwashing, but we wouldn't have a show if they did that. So they do put all the cyber stuff in them first to have them be cyborg. Then we'll do the brainwashing. So one thing leads to another. There's this distraction, which for some reason the generator blows up. Everybody leaves. You think at least one person would stay. And since everybody left, he was able to snap the chains. He was for a bit, and then there's a guy there, and it's a doctor who he knows. I'm trying to remember how the hell he got there. Although later on, we hear that he's the reason our lead character got captured because he recommended for the bad guys to get this guy. And then that's why they have like an argument near the end of the episode. I might have missed a few things on all the details of that, but it is what it is. But at this point, he doesn't know that. He gets the doctor. He jumps out. They escape through the roof. And there is a creature, a man spider. And he's able to create webs. And I know I'm explaining the episode, and I know it may not seem like I'm that excited to talk about, because I didn't mind it. It was charming for what it was. That 70s superhero style with a person. In this case, when he's suited up, he looks like a grasshopper. Guy's motorcycle. But this is only the first episode. I'm assuming he does a lot of cool stuff on that motorcycle. He just didn't do any of that cool motorcycle stuff in this episode. And then the fighting was pretty brief. I mean, he fights a couple people pretty briefly, kind of grabbing an arm and flipping them down or kicking someone, but there wasn't really anything that made me go, whoa, or whoa. It was kind of quick and forgettable. And then he fights him a little bit, then leaves, and they're like, we'll get you later, bitch, you know. Then the next thing is, I guess they escape. I guess the bad guys want the doctor's daughter. And that's about when our lead character is arguing with the doctor, and the doctor, mentions all this stuff, the scientist, and he starts kind of confronting, and the guy's daughter sees this. Well, then the man spider guy, he throws like a dart. It hits the doctor, the scientist. I don't remember if he was a doctor or a scientist now I think about it. But anyway, hits him, and he starts, I didn't understand what the fuck was going on. He becomes foam, but then it's kind of they did in reverse, how in actuality the foam kind of went bigger and bigger, but here they reverse it so the foam kind of goes smaller and smaller. And I'm like, what the fuck did they do to the guy? Like, they made him turn to foam, but then the foam kind of engulfs itself. Maybe that was their way of his body melting, but doing it with the effects and also appropriate for TV, I guess. I was just more confused with anything. I know he was dead, and just it happens to another person later in the episode too. It took me a minute to figure out what the hell was going on. So the girl sees him, and she thinks, well, you killed my dad. And I'm sitting there going, bitch, did you not see what the fuck happened? The guy got turned to foam. You think I did that? And then, funny enough, in a little bit, this man spider takes the girl and is fucking kidnapping her. Like, you eventually see this man spider guy. You don't think he had anything to do with it? Maybe she was knocked out at the time. But you would think she would have, I don't know, maybe it knocked her out before she saw anything, I guess. I guess. Pretty much she gets in a psycho, goes after the man spider. Now he's looking like Kamen Rider, the grasshopper guy. Catches up with them. You have the little army of the man spiders group where they form a circle around him, but the way they go around is like time lapse, not slow mo, but like a time lapse, and they're going around him. And I thought that was a bit of a weird way of doing it. That was a bit of a weird way to structure that scene and edit that scene. Is you couldn't just have them go in a circle or stay in a circle. It's like they kind of shift in a time lapse. Just to be weird. I don't know. And like the fights, like I mean, even Spectre Man, I remember watching a few of those, and some of it seemed like pretty violent. Like the creatures were like outright fucking murder people. I just hear too, with the doctor turned to foam, but that was more confused. Like someone's like, and it felt like the fights were a little bit more to them. I don't know. Here, maybe it's the first episode, and they get much better throughout the show. But just the fighting seemed just very brief, fairly basic. Like when he fights the main bad guy, he kind of they fight for like 7 seconds. Then they both jump in the air together, and then Kamen Rider does like a flip. They does a kick, but it's not even a cool looking kick. It's kind of not like a jump kick or a 360 kick, or it's just kind of like, ugh. Okay, imagine like he's on the screen and he lands and is like, ugh. I'm like, well, yeah, I guess I killed it because you're telling us it did. But it didn't really look that neat of a kick. It's kind of like if I jump off and I land on, you know, I don't know. It didn't seem that unique or special of a common rider kick. I think it was a rider kick. I'm like, well, can you make the kick look a little bit better, a little bit cooler? I'll be honest. I mean, there was a bit of charm to it because of remind me of Inframan, which I love Inframan, and that came out after this. Because I think that was 1975. Let me check. I think that was 75. Yeah. And when was Spectre Man? No, oh, that was 1971. Okay. Same year as this. To be honest, Spectre Man I thought looked kind of cool too. His design of his face and stuff. Well, here I'm like, I'm not sure about the grasshopper look. I did get used to it. But I think it could draw on me, that look. I just wish we could have seen more of him. I just wish we could have seen more of Kamen Rider and like really do some really... There's no move he did that I thought, wow, that looks cool. I know it's a TV show, but it's your first episode. You really got to make an impact, and he didn't really get to do a lot with his motorcycle, and he didn't really have any like cool kick-ass moves, kicks. I mean, he has a rider kit, but it didn't really look that cool. So, and the spider, it's funny because there was a spider guy in Inframan, which came out after this, but I like the one in that one. The way it looks in that movie better than this. But right, that's a movie, this is a show, so that's not fair to compare. But I mean, we don't really know much about the lead guy so far, other than he rides a motorcycle. We don't know much about the organization other than, okay, they want to brainwash people and put them everywhere to rule the world. I'm assuming the Shocker just has a bunch of creatures that are going to send out to get this guy. I'm assuming. And there's going to be the motif where the girl thinks this guy killed her father, and that's going to be something he's going to have to deal with throughout the show. I would assume this gets better because it has pretty huge following. I mean, some of the angles were fun that they use in certain scenes. Like showing some... Oh, there's some like different angles that we use that I would have a little bit of a kick, a little bit of fun with. Seeing the old school effects and suits reminds me of watching, Godzilla stuff, like Godzilla vs. Megalon or Godzilla vs. the Smog Monster, or again Inframan from back to the day. But I mean, there was a whole lot of meat to the matter. But yeah, maybe it's because we have to get things set up. We gotta get things brought up to speed and get things settled. Like, this is what the plot is going forward. So maybe now that's done, then maybe it gets a bit more free flowing and fun. Maybe not. I don't know. Eric, I leave it up to you to feel free to educate me whenever you see this. Feel free in the comments to say. But I don't know. I mean, I can't say I loved it. Yeah, I mean, it still has that 70s superhero, charm, which I like. Just that, yeah, I wish there was more martial arts and stuff that was there. I wish it was more. I know it's TV, so maybe it's not. I'm not going to be expecting a whole lot, but I was expecting a little bit more than what I got, especially for your first. Okay, we got knocked out of the park. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. But that said, thanks for watching. Take care, and we'll see you guys later. Bye-bye for now. Thank you, Eric.